rumors circulating concerning Quinn Ewers and his future based on social media accounts and.
Well, I'll jump in on this one because I saw that and I just wanted to say, like, he still has Ohio State in his Twitter account. What you also have to realize is these are now social media accounts are now billboards for the players. And if you're not paying them to be on part of that billboard, don't be surprised if you're removed. So if Ohio State is not giving them money to put on their social media accounts and their bios or whatever, then maybe they're being advised, hey, that's valuable space. Don't just give that away. And also, if Quinn Ewers is even thinking about transferring right now, then he's never going like he was never going to play at Ohio State anyway, because he knew coming in this year he was not going to play. And he knows Ryan Day has been talking to him through this whole time about not playing. And he didn't travel to the last road game because there's no need for him. And it was going to be a more competitive event than the previous road game. That's why I think he traveled to Rutgers. There's just no need for him at Indiana. And Ryan Day has been asked, hey, is he ready to play? Ryan Day has said no. And I think people they're looking for reasons to chase the quarterbacks out of here. Let them leave first. I know Ohio State is still looking for a 2022 guy. And so Ohio State knows the situation as well. But I don't think Quinn Ewers is the issue at this point. He's got his head down. He's trying to do what he can to contend for the starting job maybe next year. And if not next year, then the year after when C.J. Stroud goes and is a first-round draft pick after his redshirt sophomore season. So I think people are just – I don't think there's anything to the Quinn Ewers thing. I haven't heard anything. Maybe there is, but I just think at this point nothing has gone outside of the plan. So why would that now suddenly chase him away this year?
I mean, it's like any other position at Ohio State. Somebody goes off and has a big year and people are excited, but it's like, but why isn't Master Teague playing more? Why isn't Julian Fleming playing more? What do you want? Do you want to sit there and have the guy that's going to be the hot hand and do X, Y, and Z? Or is this, are we just trying to split things up? And I understand everybody is very worried about the transfer portal and what this means. And honestly, if a program goes through a horrible transfer portal year, yeah, it's going to be significant. I mean, we've seen teams do that already. We saw a lot of guys leave Penn State. I mean, it happens, but Ohio State is winning, is developing guys. And as Tony said, with some of these guys, some of the guys that are transferring, it's because that they know they see what their hand is, and they're sitting there with 2-7, and they know that they're not going to be able to win the hand. So they're going to leave. But I think that the concern over Quinn Ewers is unfounded at this point. A lot of Twitter sleuthing. And, while I'm not opposed to that, I don't think that it's not being framed properly. And I agree with what Tony said.
Yeah, I'm going to punt on the Quinn Ewers thing. I have seen no indication that he soured on Ohio State. I did feel it was a little bit curious that he didn't go to Indiana. But I think that they may have just figured that it was not going to be a competitive game, and that spot could go to somebody who was actually going to get to play, maybe run down on a punt or play 5 plays on offense at the end of the game, or, the 73rd guy or 74th guy, or whatever the number is that they take. And for somebody else, it became, an important experience to go on that trip and travel and be a part of it. Typically, they like the scholarship quarterbacks to go to get an idea of what it takes to travel, to have the meetings at the hotel, the walk through in the morning, and traveling over to the stadium and getting ready and warming up and everything that you go through to prepare for a road game and playing in a road. That way, the first time these guys, if Stroud had never traveled, last year, just as an example, and obviously he was the backup, but Jack Miller, if they'd not traveled last year, then they would have never known what Minnesota was going to be like when they walked in there. Of course, there were no crowds last year, so that's a bad example. But you understand what I'm saying is that they take all the quarterbacks, even though they're redshirting. I mean, it is a little bit curious, and maybe Ryan Day will be asked about it tomorrow. But I don't see where Ewers gains anything. I think he gets developed, although is he going to play next year? That's the thing. If Stroud is this good and continues to play this good against Michigan, Michigan State, Penn State, Iowa, Cincinnati, and Georgia, just as a throw out of who they could play, then he's the guy. I mean, if they go all the way with this guy, then he's their guy. So I don't know how you replace him with somebody else unless he's, not physically up to it, because he's done some things so far against, these teams that, are hard to do against air, in my opinion. So I want to see how he does when he's swimming in the deeper end of the pool. But, again, it's going to be what it's going to be. And I know, Kevin, you said you think Miller may have one step out. I think Miller's the lifer. I think Miller's the guy who's there and gets the standing ovation 4 years from now on Senior Day for sticking it out, and maybe a few starts along the way somewhere. I think the other two guys are maybe in peril of heading somewhere else, but
don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. I didn't say. I have never put a name on there. You can't unring a bell. You sit there and say somebody's transferring. That's on your permanent record. I've never said anything like that.
Maybe it wasn't you. It was somebody else that said they thought Miller was maybe, I don't know. Somebody else said they thought Miller was one step out. And I'm like, no, I think he loves it at Ohio State. So I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. I love to be told what I apparently said 6 weeks ago, because following CJ Stroud's, depending on your perspective, rough start at Ohio State, one particular person was adamant that you had to be an elite quarterback to play at Ohio State. And if you're not elite, you cannot play at Ohio State. And I said, well, we've seen very little of CJ Stroud. If he turns into an elite quarterback, I'm not going to be surprised. But if he's a top 15 quarterback in the country, Ohio State can easily win the Big Ten. But he was adamant, no, that's not good enough. Top 10, 15 in the nation's not good enough at quarterback for Ohio State. You have to be elite. You have to be a Heisman finalist. And so then I don't hear from the guy as CJ Stroud improves and so forth until the other day. He calls in and says, I told you, and this guy was adamant about CJ Stroud needs to be benched immediately. He doesn't have, in addition to the numbers, he's not showing the leadership skills, the confidence. You can see the way he's looking down, reading all the body language. He's never going to be a leader. He just doesn't have it in him. Calls me the other day and says, I told you, see, I was right. You were wrong. CJ Stroud was going to be an elite quarterback. I told you. I said, okay. All right. Ohio State, Penn State, Saturday night. Such a big game that here at the Voice of College Football, simulcasting on 3 channels: the Big Ten channel, the Ohio State channel, and the Penn State channel. And we've got a nice little contribution coming in from Treasure the Torah. We appreciate that so much. What's up, fellas? Long time to no see. Just showing the page some love, peace, and much respect. Appreciate that so much. Thank you for that.
I just want to jump in here.
Yeah.
Ohio State football is back on Quinn Ewers's Twitter profile. So let's put that one to rest. It's back on there. Maybe Ohio State figured something out, but it's back.
There you go.
Our long national nightmare is over.
You beat me to it.
that line never gets old. All right.
Well, that and Bino Cook saying about the Iranian hostages getting lifetime passes to Major League Baseball. Oh, haven't those people suffered enough?
which I took great offense to at the time. Oh my goodness. To hear that in 1980 as a 11-year-old, I was steaming mad for weeks over that. Kevin, I'll hit you up on this one. Any idea on the next commit for the Buckeyes, or who could be simmering out there ready to pull the trigger?
No.
Okay.
I have a thought.
All right, Steve.
This came up in my chat, and I deferred to our guru, as our friend Tim May would say. He's a guru. Bill Kurlick, recruiting analyst extraordinaire. I said, after this weekend, do you see anybody committing? Because it is a big recruiting weekend. And he didn't mention any 2022 players that he thought were really close, but he thought maybe Joshua Padilla from Timber Heights Wayne, offensive lineman, 2023, that he could be leaning a little bit toward Ohio State, which is interesting because his teammate Emil Wagner, who's 2022, has had an offer but has not made any kind of movement toward maybe even looking that Ohio State was, one of his top choices, or I mean, it's probably not the right thing to say, but it doesn't seem like he's anywhere close to making a commitment. So I don't know. Who knows?
Keep an eye on 23 wide receiver Carnell Tate as well, who's been
Oh,
added
yeah.
to the list.
Yeah.
That one, I think that was supposed to be coming down to like a December announcement, but his coming back to Columbus could be a good indication. I mean, it still could be something that he sits on because he'd only have to wait about five weeks or so, but that's somebody that I would probably have on my short list too.